Hooty hoo, all my stock market gamblers. Welcome today. I'm Tall Mike. So glad you're here. What do we got going on in the markets? Well, we had the bounce back day on Friday, right? So we came down. We came down below the 50-day, and now we're bouncing back up towards it. And that's going to be the resistance area. If we get through the 50-day, I think we're going to make a new record high on the S&P. Now, things like the small cap, the Russell, I mean, that's already down 15% and starting to go down lower, in my opinion. So that one's not going to get back to a new high. But I do think the S&P will get back to a new high. A lot of people get freaked out when the market has a little bit of a downdraft to it. I mean, we only came down about, 3, maybe 4%, and we're already starting to bounce back up. Everybody says, but Mike, gold's coming down with it. Gold's crashing. Down about 2 or 3%. I don't really think that's a crash. I hope it comes down a little bit more. I'd like to get some cheap gold. Love me some cheap gold. Now, if you want some that's coming down, look at that Bitcoin, right? That came down 25% to 30%, right? I mean, that's kind of more of a drop. Already came down into a bear market, but I think it's going to bounce back up also. I think they're going to push that up higher. Now, the reason I think we're going to have a big drop later in this year is because the earning expectation on all these corporations, their expectation is way up here, way too high for what's going to be coming. You see, right now, rich people, they help out the economy, right? They're the ones spending the money because they have the money to spend. Poor people running out of money, maxing out credit cards, but the rich people still spending money. But once the market starts coming down, they're going to have a little problem, right? I mean, even rich people are going to start to feel poor, and they're not going to be spending money enough to help the economy enough to help the earnings, which is going to send the market down farther. It's kind of going to be a little bit of a death spiral, kind of like what we see in the housing market. Now, a lot of people get upset with me on the housing market because I say, that it's going to come in about 40%, and that's in nominal terms. They say, but Mike, you've got this all wrong. You've been wrong all these years. I don't think I've been wrong all these years. Look, you do what Billy Bob did. He sold up here at the top, prices down about 10%, but he took his money, put it into the gold market, put it into real money, and then according to real money, your house has already dropped 40%. Now, will it do it in nominal terms? Probably going to do it in nominal terms if they don't print money, right? Now, they could print an extra 50 trillion, an extra 100 trillion to keep them up in nominal terms, right? I mean, we'd be hyperinflating at that point, so it is a problem. But people think I want the housing market to crash. I do not want the housing market to crash. I make a lot of money from house prices up here. I'm just telling you realistically, it's going to come and revert back to the mean. And that would be a drop of about 40% from here. Every time throughout history, we always come back and revert to the mean. Revert to the mean just means we're going to drop to the long-term moving average. And that's down about 40% from here. Like the stock market, right? Down about 50% would be reverting to the long-term moving average. Right now, the stock market is over 200% GDP to the stock market, right? Stock market value in the U.S. compared to the GDP running over 200%. Normal's about 100%. So that's going to revert back to its mean by dropping about 50%. Houses, same principle, going to revert back to its mean, dropping by 40%. Now, sometimes they overshoot to the downside, right? I mean, we're double up here. We could come and shoot to the downside on the stock market. We could easily see that drop by 80% when the things start to happen. That's just my take. In the housing market, we can easily drop by 40% to get back to the mean, but we could overshoot it. We could go down 50, 60% if things get really bad. Now, things in the housing market are frozen up. A lot of people think that their house is worth a lot of money because they say, but Mike, houses aren't going down, they're staying up. And as soon as these interest rates come back down to zero, we're going to take off in the housing market. Well, you keep waiting for those interest rates to come back down to zero. Now, I agree with you. The interest rates on the short end of the curve that the Fed will probably pull those back down to zero. But what's that going to do to the long end of the curve, going to send it up higher. Why? Because the inflation expectation at that point is so extreme. Nobody's going to loan money to our government at 4 or 5% on the long end of the bond market. Those rates are going to go up 8, 10, 12%. Your mortgage is going to go up 10, 12, 14%. But Mike, I'm locked in at 2.78%. I'm not going anywhere, and that's great. That's perfectly fine. But the next person that's going to be buying your house might have to pay 12, 14, 16% for a mortgage. Now, is that going to make your house go up? I don't think that's going to make your house go up. Everybody tells me it will, and maybe it will. Maybe I got this all wrong. But this is just my take. The sales, they're locked up, right? Pending home sales down 5% month over month again. I mean, it just keeps getting lower and lower. It's actually the lowest on recorded history. It's never been lower for the number of sales. Now, number of sales always leads the price. Number of sales coming down first, right? Eventually, you're going to get this forced selling. You see, there's a problem that we haven't been able to get forced selling because the last administration wouldn't allow forced selling. They said the banks had to put you on a forbearance or give you a loan modification. You got a 30-year loan, you had to give them a 40-year loan. 40-year loan, you give them a 50-year loan. They're talking about 100-year mortgages right now to adjust for what's coming. They can see what's coming. What's coming is you're going to see the downward draft in the price situation. You see, what they've gotten rid of is the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. The Consumer Finance Protection Bureau made it so that you could not foreclose on these people. You had to give them forbearance. You had to hold their hand through a loan modification, even though they do a double default, triple defaults, triple delinquent. It's a problem, right? You adjust them, they can't make that payment. You adjust them, they can't make that payment. These are going to be coming onto the marketplace. It's not going to be that little friendly, warm, fuzzy situation where you stay in your home since the great financial crisis back in 2008. Some people haven't paid their mortgage. How would you like to not pay your mortgage for, I don't know, what is that, 17 years, right? Hey, that'd be great. Okay, well, that'd be fine. Just stay in your house. Don't pay your mortgage and work it out with the bank. Loan modifications. That's a problem. That's a problem. You see, this whole thing is going to get really nasty, going to get really ugly. Housing market is it's on its deathbed is what it really is. I mean, it's just sitting there. But eventually you're going to get the forced selling, the people that have to sell, the people that have to relocate, the people that die, their heirs will sell the property, the Airbnb people that got 5 and 10 properties, all that inventory is going to be dumped onto the marketplace. That's just how the natural course of things is going to play out, right? And that extra inventory is going to sit there until someone has to sell, until the forced selling comes. And the forced selling may be in the form of the bank foreclosing, taking the house back, calling up Tall Mike, saying, get this thing sold off our books at any price. It happens. That's my job. I'm a real estate broker. You guys know that. I got a listing coming up here. Now, this guy, he wants to list his house, but he wants to get that Billy Bob price. I tell him we should price it a little bit under that so that we can get it sold. It's fine. You price it up there, you're just going to sit there. There's no takers at the top anymore. You got to come down under the market and don't chase the market down. A lot of people are going to be chasing this market down. They're taking their house. I'm going to wait to sell until the prices get back up. Well, that's great. They're not going that direction right now. They're actually starting to come down. Now what Billy Bob did, he sold up here at the top, took his money, put it into gold market. Now, why do I say put your money into the gold market? Everybody tells me, but Mike, the gold market's manipulated. The silver market, it's manipulated. Look at gold and silver are bargains here. Yeah, they're down a little bit, right? Gold's off 2 or 3% from its record high. I'm telling you, going to go much higher than 3,000. But it's a game of musical chairs that they're playing in this manipulation market. And the music's about to stop. Now, here's the thing. In the silver market, there's 400 ounces of fake silver for every 1 ounce of real silver. Now, what do I mean by fake silver? I'm not talking about trying to pawn off a fake coin to your local coin shop. I'm talking about paper silver, the SLV. I'm talking about the futures markets. These are not real. They aren't physical. You got to have the physical. So there's 400 ounces of paper silver for every 1 ounce of physical, right? And they're playing this game of musical chairs where there's only one chair and 400 people are going to be trying to dive and land on that chair. I'm giving you a little bit of advice. You can take it, you cannot take it. I don't care. You do you, I'll do me. But if you're smart, you're going to get some physical in your possession so you're not trying to dive on that one chair because there's only one chair for the 400 ounces of silver out there. Now the gold, it's a little bit less. It's about 200 ounces of paper gold, but they're playing that same game. They're playing that musical chairs. When the music stops, there's one chair. There's 200 people looking for that chair. But if you're holding on to the physical, you don't have to play that game of musical chairs with them. You can hold on to it and you can get the wealth transferred to you. Believe me, there's going to be a wealth transfer. I don't know how high gold will jump. Some people talking as high as $140,000. Now, personally, I think that's crazy. Do I think that's impossible? No, I don't. Look at Bitcoin went up to 109,000. That's digits on a screen for a physical ounce of gold. Could go to 140. That's what it'd take. We have 8,000 tons of gold, right, in the reserve of the United States, Fort Knox, right? That's what they say we have. They're going to do an audit. They're going to find cobwebs there. We don't have the gold anymore. But if the reason they say 140,000, if you took that 8,000 ounces of gold, multiplied it by 8,000 tons, 8,000 tons of gold, multiplied it by $140,000 an ounce, that's what it would take to pay off our debt. That we'd be out of debt, right? You just reprice the gold that you have, and it's a possibility, I suppose. My guess is that gold, that maybe they revalue it at 10,000, 5,000. Definitely going to revalue it at least 3,000, right? That'd be my take. Anyways, once they revalue it, it's too late to get the physical. That physical is going to dry up. It's going to be off the marketplace, and it's gold sister, that silver market. Oh my goodness, they're giving that stuff away, and that's so valuable down here at $31, $32 an ounce. People have no idea what that's going to do. Look I'm telling you, at some point, I know it's been manipulated down 400 to every one, and they're going to continue to try to keep that suppressed. I'm telling you, it's like a spring loaded, right? When that spring goes off, it's going to explode. It's going to explode higher. It'd be way too late to get any physical at that time. But you do you, I'll do me. I'm stacking the real stuff, right? The physical, the gold, the silver. That's all I really got today. It's kind of a short one, I know. But anyways, there's going to be a lot of action this week in the markets, I'm telling you. I think looking for Bitcoin to bounce. I'm looking for the S&P to bounce. I think it's the week we're going to start to bounce up higher. We'll see how it plays out. The tariffs, are they going to put them on? Donald says we're going to have tariffs starting, well, they're actually starting, today, tomorrow? I don't know, March 4th, right? Okay. Anyways, let's see if he puts them on, or let's see if he gets more concessions to delay it some more and double that China tariff. It's going to be volatile out there. A lot of trading going on. A lot of trading. We'll see how it plays out. I'm Tall Mike. Get out there. Give me the thumbs up first. Punch that subscribe button. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll talk again real soon. Bye-bye now.